Hi everybody, today we are learning about data and graphs. And the first thing I want to tell you about is data. It is information that we have collected about anything. Could be about cars, balloons, clouds in the sky, people. Today, it's pencils. And what we do with the data is we usually put it in some type of graph. And we do that because it's easier for people to read in a graph than to just show them numbers or sentences about information that we found. So today I'm going to show you how to do a picture graph with some data that you have collected. Let's get started. Okay, so I've got all of these pencils, and the data I'm going to be collecting today is how many of each coloured pencil do I have? Now you might be able to run your eyes over it and estimate how many of each colour we have. So that's an educated guess. So maybe have a guess how many blue pencils you think we have. And maybe guess how many pink ones. How many red ones do you think we have? And I think the last colour might be green. Now, it's a hard way to do it that way. So instead, I'm going to pick out each colour and put them together in groups. So I've got green here, putting it together in a group, blue, pink, and red. Oh, that was easy. Now it's much easier to tell how many we have. Some of them, like these small ones, we can just look at and we know how many there are. We know there's 2 here without even counting them. And we know there's 4 there without counting them. But we might want to count each one of these individually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 blue. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red. So I'm going to put this information in a little table so it's easy for me to see. You might notice that there's a table in your work for today. And that table is kind of like this. Mine's just little because it's just like working out for maths. So on this side I'm going to write colour. And this side, I'm going to write number. Oops, mine doesn't fit. That's okay. All right. So I have red pencils here. I have green. I have pink. And I have blue. And now on this side I'm going to write the number of each one. So remember there was 7 red, there was 4 green, can you guess what number's going in this one? It's the number 2. And how many in this spot? 5. All right, now we've got our information there. It's really easy for us to read and put it in a graph for our audience. So I can move these pencils out of the way now. Now in your book, your paper is going to be a lot smaller. So it's going to be a bit easier for you to do this graph than me. But I'll still show you my best graph. So I'm going to get a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, try and find something nice and straight. You could use the edge of a book, or you could just do a really, really careful line, but we really prefer you to try and do it as neatly as possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a nice straight line at the bottom of my page. But notice I've left lots of room underneath because I'm actually going to write underneath this line. So you need to make sure that you've got plenty of room under the line to write. Now I had to move my ruler there, but you shouldn't need to do that because you're doing yours in a little book. Now the next step is I need to come up with a title for my graph. And usually the title for the graph will be, what is this information? So we are collecting information about pencils, and we're collecting information about what colour they are. So I'm going to name the graph Pencil Colours. Make sure it's nice and neat, and with any title, you make sure it's got a capital letter at the beginning, and you make sure you underline it. Okay. Now I need to write underneath each colour of pencil. So red, green, pink, blue. I don't want to have all of them over on one side. I want to try and use the whole paper. So I don't want to have them all bunched up here, and I don't want them all bunched up here or bunched up in the middle. I want to spread them out. So a really easy way that I can do this is I get my paper and I fold it in half. And if you need help with this, ask your parents, because you will be able to do this even in your book. And I don't even need to fold it the whole way up. I can just fold this little bit here. Watch. Take your time. I had to check and make sure I was taking my time there. Then fold it again. So now we're in quarters, because I want 4 different spots. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but there are some folds here, and it's going to be really easy for me to spread out the colours. So, I'm going to write red. What do you think the next colour I'm writing is? Give you a clue. Green. Pink. And finally, blue. I'm nearly there, and this is the fun part. I've collected the data, I've collected the information already, I've set up my graph, and all there is now for a picture graph that I have to do is draw the pictures. And that's my favourite part. So, let's have a look at my little table here. I have 7 red pencils. So I need to draw 7 pencils above the red. And I'm not going to draw them in a big bunch here because it's not easy to read. The whole point is to make it easy to read. So I'm going to draw them in a nice long line. And I think I made this one a little bit big, but that's okay. I'll make the rest of them a bit smaller. Try and make them as even as you can. I made a bit of a mistake there, but that's okay. I noticed straight away, and I'm just changing what I'm doing to fix it. No problem with mistakes. We just do our best to fix them. So here's my pencils. You can copy the same kind of pencils if you're doing a pencil graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I need 2 more. Make sure you check and you count how many pictures you're doing, because you don't want to accidentally draw too many, or possibly not enough. All right, I'm going to check and make sure I've got 7. I think I have 7, but I'm going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Was that correct? Yeah. Okay. So how many pencils am I going to draw above green? Did you say 4? I think I heard you say 4. All right. Let's draw 4 pencils above green. What I really love to see in picture graphs is when people have tried really hard to make their pictures nice and neat. Now, I'm not really doing that. I'm not showing you how neat I can draw. And the reason is because I am really rushing to try and get through this video so that it's not too long. But I want you to take your time and make sure your pictures are nice and neat and I can tell what they are. If you just do a little line, I'm not going to know what that is. I want to see that it's a pencil. Okay? So I've done my 4 green ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next I'm doing pink. How many do we need for pink? If you said 2, you would be right. All right, I'm drawing 2 pink pencils. Another thing that I love to see in picture graphs is when people draw a nice straight line of pictures. So you can see it's really easy to tell. I didn't draw my 2 pink pencils together next to each other. I drew one on top of the other because we want them to grow upwards. Okay? All right, we've got blue. How many do we need for blue? I think we need 5. And you know what? You might even be able to make a better picture graph than me. And the way that you can make a better picture graph than me is to make sure all of your pencils line up. So because I made this mistake at the very beginning, this pencil is really big. But I can make them all line up. So these are all on the same level. Oopsie. Went a little bit too fast with that one. Take your time. See how these are all on the same level? Except for that one. Three. It can be pretty hard. You might want to use a ruler to check. You might want to go, you know what? I want to make a super, super good graph. And you might check and make sure that they line up. That's something you can do. Let's have a look. Do these line up? Yep, pretty much. But you can definitely make one that's better than mine for sure. All right, let's check if I've got the right amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. And that's it. I'm finished now. That's the whole journey from collecting data to putting it into a picture graph. And picture graphs are my absolute favorite because I love pictures, okay? And I cannot wait to see the beautiful picture graphs that you make. Okay, make them nice and neat and make sure your data is correct. Have fun, everyone.